Hey guys, I'm Chase Brogan, and today in this video we're going to unbox, demo, and review the Kamrui AM06 Pro Mini PC. This offers 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, but we also have the AMD Ryzen 7 5800U processor that's 8 cores, 16 threads, and speeds of up to 4.4 gigahertz on here. This Mini PC also comes with the AMD Radeon graphics built in as well, which should deliver us with some great gaming potential. So we've got to see exactly what this has to offer though. So we're going to unbox, demo, and review this. We'll first open it up, we'll take a look at the layout and design, and then we'll fire it up, jump into a bunch of different games to really test out the performance. Let's dive into it. So in here we have all of our cables and different attachments. We also have a mounting bracket down here at the bottom, and of course our user manual. So let's take a quick glance at our user manual here. It comes in 9 different languages here. Shows you how to go ahead and make your different connections, how to utilize your triple display capabilities as well, how to mount this to the backside of a monitor, which with this bracket you could easily mount it to just about any surface if you really wanted to. But yeah, it just goes through how you would go through the setup process here for the most part. We're going to go ahead and set that aside. HDMI cable right here. Again, mounting bracket, and you can see the holes down here and the mounting holes, so very easy to actually set this up. I've used the exact same mounting bracket on some other devices before. We have ourselves a SATA connection that would actually be wired into the inside of the Mini PC if you wanted to go ahead and expand on storage, or for gamers like myself, if you wanted to bring in a game drive and secure it within the Mini PC, you would go ahead and install this right here. So we'll set that aside, but I'll bring that into the mix a little bit later. Here's our power supply cable. Obviously this side is going to go into a power outlet. This side is going to go into your actual Mini PC, Type-C connection there. And then we have mounting screws here as well. So let's bring the Mini PC out and into the mix. All right guys, here is the Mini PC right here in my hands. Definitely a nice looking Mini PC. I like the texture up here on the top. I do want to make mention of the fact that this half over here with the square pattern on the top and the texture is purely just design. It's not ventilation. To the eye there in a video, I can see how this might look like ventilation, and if we actually take a look at the backside here, we have that same pattern, and there is some ventilated areas here. So up on the top here, it's not ventilation, it's purely cosmetic, but very lightweight. It's all plastic. Everything on here is plastic, which lines up with the price point as well as the fact that it is a lighter Mini PC. So taking a look at the front here, we have our audio jack connection, 2 USB 3 ports here, a Type-C port. We also have nothing on the left side except for a little ventilation down at the bottom. Backside now, we have first off our Type-C port, which is going to serve as our power supply connection, of course. We already took a look at the power supply cable right over here, which is that Type-C, plugs right in over here. Now we have 2 Ethernet ports right here. Those are covered up here with some plastic just to keep dirt and debris from getting in there. We also have an HDMI port, display port right below that, and then we have 2 additional USB-A ports right here. They're not USB 3, just regular USB-A. We have some more ventilation right above there, which I already showed you guys. You can see where it's ventilated versus where it's purely just that texture. Now we do have a power button right here in the corner. I do like the fact that we have that power button located like that. I think is a unique design. One thing I will say, and obviously I haven't really used this much yet, but being that it's on the edge there, if this were to fall and hit that exact corner, which anytime you hit a sharp corner like that, you're usually going to have some damage. It would concern me if we were to drop this off a desk and it landed right there on the power button. Not only would you kill the power or turn it on, depending on, whether you drop it when it's already powered on or not, but I think you could do some significant damage to the power button. So that would concern me, but other than the concern of obviously damaging it if it was dropped, if you're not dropping this, it does look pretty sharp. So kind of a catch-22 there. Let's flip this over. Very unique design on the bottom here. So this actually does serve as ventilation. If you kind of look down there, and it's very hard to do that with this angle, if you look in each of these, it's actually ventilated on both sides. So 2 of the 4 edges on every square is, totally cut, so it goes through, so you're going to be able to ventilate this beautifully on the bottom. So I definitely like that. We have our 2 mounting holes right there where you can bring your mounting bracket into the mix. Lines up perfectly. But the rubber feet here actually have a screw that is exposed, and I do like the fact that it is exposed. It's countersunk in though, so when you sit this down, you can hear it just sits on the rubber, so it secures everything in place, but you don't have to peel the rubber feet off to access everything. So I love that, because if you've ever watched any of my reviews in the past, I always complain about having to remove those, because if you have to remove the feet here to access the screws, they're going to lose their adhesive bond and they're just going to end up falling off at some point. So then you have to replace it. This is a good design where you can access the screw without removing the feet. So we're going to open this up. We're going to take a look at everything inside. We're probably going to bring the SATA connection here into the mix as well. So let me grab my screwdriver and we'll open up the bottom here with all 4 screws being removed. All right. So once all 4 screws are loosened up, you can just simply lift this right off like so. Now if you flip this over, the screws will fall out. I'm going to leave it just like that. But we can see right inside here, everything's easily accessible. We have access to our SSD that's installed within here. This is a 512 gigabyte M2 SSD. We have our RAM over here, and we have access to everything that we need. And now if you want to install this SATA connection here, it's going to install right into this right here. So a little bit hard to see in this video. Again, I'll try to bring this a little bit closer, but it's going to get installed right there. So all we would have to do is simply lift the little flap up on there, slide this into place, and now once you do that, you have your SATA connection installed just like this. And if we take a look now, the screws are going to likely fall out, but if you take a look at the bottom, you're actually able to secure a regular 2.5-inch SSD right here. So hard to see because it's black on black. I'll remove these screws so we don't risk losing any. And of course, one fell into the mini PC. We'll remove that. Here is the bottom, and you can see right here we have our 4 tabs that hold the M2 SSD right in here. So you have screw holes on the edges, which we can use 2 of these that are provided, but most SSDs will actually come with the set screws as well to actually mount the SSD into your PC. So it would sit right on here, so your SATA connection basically would go into your drive, and then your drive would just sit right here underneath in there. So I'm not going to actually do that right now. I'm going to use an external SSD today, so I'm just going to flip this up. We'll remove this all together, and I'm going to just secure everything back in place. Simply drops in just like this. There we go. And it is actually mounted front right there, so you know exactly which way this is intended to sit on there. 1 screw, 2 screws, 3 screws, 4. I'll go ahead and tighten everything up, and then we'll fire this up. We'll jump into some games and test out the performance. All right, guys, we jumped into this mini PC from Kamrui today, and overall had a great experience. Retro video game emulation, it sails through everything that you throw at it without any issues whatsoever. So for retro video game emulation, this is a stellar option for you guys. For AAA gaming, it's going to be a little hit or miss, but Halo Infinite, which usually we have some issues with, no problems whatsoever here. Shredder's Revenge from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, not a demanding game, no issues whatsoever. Soul Calibur, definitely playable, but it is a little bit laggy. It's slower than it should be. And I think that's something that you're going to encounter with some games on here. I jumped into Tekken 7, didn't see slowdown there, but you know, it's hit or miss sometimes. I wouldn't get this for like Fortnite or any, you know, real recent AAA titles, but you know, it will be a little hit or miss there. So you kind of have to tread lightly with AAA gaming. I wouldn't recommend it for high-end AAA gaming, but if you're a retro gamer like myself, that's going to be your main thing that you want to, you know, put this to the test with. You're going to have a great experience with everything. I jumped into way more than I showed you guys here in this video in an effort to keep this as short and sweet as possible, but nothing that I threw at it was an issue. So let's talk about the price point here. $269.99 at the time of this recording. For the specs that you get here, we have the AMD Ryzen 7 processor, speeds up to 4.4 gigahertz, which is great. We also have the AMD Radeon graphics. The pair of the two is incredible. We saw what the performance is like here, and I attribute that to the specs mainly. It is all plastic. That's worth mentioning because it's not going to be as durable as some of the other options out there. There's a lot of metal mini PCs out there. Obviously, those are way more durable if you drop those on the ground, even from 3-4 feet up. It's not going to be a problem. If you drop this from 3 to 4 feet up, it probably will crack or at the very least have some dings on it. The fact that that power button is on the corner means that if you do drop it and it happens to land perfectly on that corner, I do think that you run the risk of having significant issues with damage to the power button, which can obviously majorly impact the functionality of this mini PC. So it's worth mentioning that the design, while it is sleek and I like the fact that that power button is on the corner, you do run the risk of, you know, having a higher chance of, you know, having some damage there if it were to fall. So you got to be super careful with this. It is lightweight, which does mean that you could knock it over much easier than if it was a heavier mini PC. So, you know, there are factors to consider there. Now, the cooling on here, it's not top notch. It's decent, but it's not great. The whole unit is pretty warm to the touch after about an hour of gameplay on here, and I was, you know, playing the more demanding emulators and then of course AAA games at the end, so that definitely, you know, will make it warmer and a little bit more stressed out than if you were playing like Sonic the Hedgehog and easier stuff like that. If you're using this for regular desktop PC usage, it's not going to, you know, warm up as much, but I think that's because the cooling on here just isn't top notch, but also the airflow on this unit is pretty low. I mean, you don't have much ventilation. We toured through the entire mini PC and there's just not much ventilation on here. It looks like there's a lot because of the design with the different textures and stuff like that, but you really only have a minimal amount of ventilation on this unit. So even though the bottom of it has pretty good ventilation, it's the bottom and it's sitting pretty close to whatever surface you lay it on too, so that's going to disrupt airflow on here. But I like the triple display capabilities here. I like the fact that the performance is very good. So it is a great option, and the price point reflects all of this, the good, the bad, and the ugly at times. But I think it's a fair price point for what you get. You just want to make sure that first off, you're storing it in a place where, you know, it's not going to add to the heat. You know, you don't want to put this necessarily inside of an arcade cabinet because there's not great airflow there. This will do best on a desk, on a mantle, stuff like that. So to the right person, this is a great option. The price point is very attractive, especially when considering those specs. So I will provide you guys with a link at the top of your screen, as well as in the description of this video. If you have one of these, let me know what your experience has been like with this. You guys watch the video though, give me some feedback. Let me know what you guys think of this mini PC in the comments, of course. That's going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please drop a thumbs up on the video here on your way out. And of course, hit subscribe to stay in the loop for all future videos right here on the Chase Brogan YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.